everybody. Happy new week. I hope you are doing amazing. Even though it's the middle of winter, I have got one of my recently published authors, Kathleen Browne, here next to me from New South Wales. Good morning, Kathleen.
Good morning, Nat. How are you?
I'm amazing. I'm amazing. And I'm just making sure that we are live on Facebook, which we are. I can see it on my phone. You are a recently published author of a book called The Unique Parent Club. You've got a copy there. Do you want to show us on screen your pride and joy? There it is.
Yes, absolutely.
Talking about that today, what I might do is I might make it a little bit bigger on the screen and give your official introduction, and then we can get into the awesome stuff you're going to share with us today. So guys, our guest today is Kathleen Browne. She is a published author now and a dedicated parent of a child with a disability. In 2024 is when just recently she released this book called The Unique Parent Club, where she guides readers through her extraordinary journey as a parent of a child with special needs. Kathleen candidly shares the challenges she faced, the struggles she endured, and the strength she gained along the way. Despite these hurdles, she completed a Bachelor of Social Work, moved countries twice, and learned to advocate and support her son effectively. Her story is one of resilience and empowerment, and today she joins us to share her journey and insights with us. And she was just recently at the World Down Syndrome Conference in Brisbane, where she actually met up with Julie Fisher, and I saw an awesome photo of you guys doing stuff there.
Yes.
Did you speak, Kathleen, or were you in attendance there?
I was in attendance there, and I also co-chaired a workshop, an afternoon workshop, with a young lady named Shay, and she had Down syndrome. So she chaired the workshops, and I was her co-chair, which was a really, really good experience for me. I was also given the opportunity to present my poster, and which I did for 2 days. I had my poster up on the wall, so many people walked past and they read what I had done. So it was really good. And it was good meeting Julie also and Darcy, because I knew them from screen and I had never met them in person. So that was a really good experience.
Amazing. So what was the passion behind why you wrote the Unique Parent Club? Like what was the drive, and how long had you been thinking about it?
I have been thinking about this for many years, and I was trying to think about that this morning, how long far it goes back. One day my friend and I in New Zealand were sitting on a balcony and having coffee, and I said one of my goals was to write a book, and I was looking for that piece of paper where I wrote all my goals down. And I said, I don't know what the book is about, but I'm just going to write a book. And so we carried on talking, because the two of us always said we're going to save the world. And, we laughed about it and chatted about it. But I would say it was about maybe 17 years ago. But I always thought that there was something in me, the story in me, that I needed to share. And I've gone through your emails many years. I've been a follower. I read the emails over and over and over, until one day I woke up and I said, hey, let me just join this, because, this is one of your goals. And I truly believe that when you write a goal, and it's you want to do it, it's implanted somewhere in you. And I kept on resisting that. And I didn't know the process. And I thought, okay, let me go to one of the workshops. I had the time, I was on leave. I said, let me go to one of the workshops and just see what it's about. And I got hooked, to tell you the truth, Nat. I got hooked on that. And I said, you know what? This is what I'm going to do. This is what I'm meant to do. And and I took it from there.
You have done it, and you did an amazing job. Like you did it. You were so good at following all the steps. And it was out in no time. And so tell me a little bit, maybe tell us what's the book about, who's, what benefits people will get from reading it and all that sort of stuff.
My book is about my journey with my son, Keegan. Keegan has Down syndrome. He's got Hirschsprung's disease. He has epilepsy. He's had a heart condition since he was born. So there's many, many things, medical, and he has an intellectual disability, first of all, and he has medical issues. So it's about my journey on how I manage to care for him the best way that I can. Now, my journey starts where he was given a diagnosis, and that was the 24 hours after he was born, to where we are now. And little did I know at the time that we would move countries, we would move houses in South Africa, we would move to New Zealand, we would move to Australia. And each move has given him a different perspective on life, given him an opportunity to join different groups. But it's also changed me. It's also given me the insight that even if your child has a disability, it doesn't mean that you need to stay put.
Yeah.
Like before, in the days gone by, where parents stayed at home and their children stayed at home because there weren't any opportunities for them. Today, there's so many opportunities, and I wanted to expose that. But I also wanted to talk about myself as well, as much as it is for Keegan, because sometimes we forget about the parent. We forget about the parent struggles that they go through with a child with a disability, because we focus on that one child. Our focus goes to that child to make sure that child is okay. But through all that, through raising him and, living the experience, I've come out and I've said every hurdle, for instance, we had issues with the NDIS, and it's not issues that were massive. It was issues that changed our lives a little at the time, but it also took me on a different path of becoming an NDIS provider so that I can help other parents who are supporting their children, because I have the insights and, of really what can you do, what can your child achieve, what can your child receive from the NDIS, because it's not a complicated system. You've just got to understand it, and parents have to just take in what's there. But my book also shares that you, as a parent, you can recognize your resilience. You know that you are resilient, and sometimes we forget that. In a crisis, like when Keegan goes to hospital, maybe I'll just sit there in a ball and cry, because that's something I can't prevent and I can't make right for him. So then you come out of that and you think, my God, I got through that. Okay, what's the next step? So you think of the next thing that you're going to do. But then also you look at the thing of your day-to-day routine. We have a very, very good routine in the morning. He sets the routine. If he wakes up 5 minutes later, I've got to adjust to his routine. I don't make myself adjust to him. But I guide him in most things that he does. So the routine is really important. What he eats, where he goes, what he does. He chooses his clothes. Sometimes we don't agree on that, but I sort of, compromise on that. But then best of all is knowing that there's support out there for everybody. There's really good support for parents. And parents like myself, I always thought, what, I can do this on my own. I can do this. But I know that you need support for many, many things in life, irrespective of whether it's writing a book, telling your story, and caring for a child with a disability. We all need support. So I encourage everybody with a child with a disability to reach out and get the support they need so that they can be 100% and care for their loved one with a disability.
I think definitely, parents of new parents that may have a child with disability, that they're new in this world. I think those would be the number one ideal readers for your book, to kind of watch their journey and understand what you've been through, but to hear about all of the tips and the support. Maybe they're not even aware that there is support available. And as you say, everyone was locked up in their houses, away from normal society in the olden days. No longer, we're all working together and are able to manage, and include people with disabilities in our activities and things like that. So I love that. I love that you're bringing awareness to it, because there's still new people that are coming on the scene. It's never going to stop, right? There's always going to be new children being born with disabilities, and if we can make give them a shortcut so that they can support a lot faster, that's that's really why you've been put on this earth, to facilitate that for people, right? Yeah.
Thank you, Nat. That was a good way of saying it. Thank you.
Yeah, well, that's what I think. Same when I think about helping people write a book. Of course, they can struggle through and work through trial and error, which is what I did when I wrote my first book. But then there is someone out there that has a shortcut in a system, and you can like get through it in 3 or 4 months. And like yourself, you know, as soon as you took action on those emails, because I didn't know the background story. You actually have just told me a bit of the backstory, that you had been on my database for a long time before you actually attended the seminar.
Yes.
And but once you didn't everything like just kind of, you know, you put your hand up, yep, I want the support, and it's like it was right there, and you know, we're here like months later, you know, talking about this book and all that. So let's talk about everyday realities, you know, like what are some of the things that, you know, you can shed a light on around your experiences every day and the struggles that happen, you know, for, you know, I think this is just as important for people who don't have a child with disability to understand, so that when they do meet those parents that have children with disability, they can, you know, see, you know, put themselves in their shoes.
One of the things that we're struggling with at the moment is Keegan has a respiratory issue and he can't walk very far. So although I encourage him to walk, I do have a disability parking, but now his transport comes and picks him up at home, but everybody parks on the street. So they're having difficulty, which in turn gives me difficulty. So those are the everyday realities, because if your neighbors park in front of your house, that means he's going to go into the road to get onto his transport. So as a result, I've written to the mayor of Blacktown and I've asked, how can you help me with this issue? Because this is a safety issue for my son. Now, people may think that, oh, you know, it's just we can all park on the street, so why bother? But when you have a child with a disability, you think of them. You think of the safety for them, because they may not realize it for themselves. He knows he can't walk on the road. He knows all those things. But to get his transport, when they come and pick him up in the morning, is that the workers then are telling me, hey, we can't do this. We're parking in the street, so you need to tell your neighbors to move their vehicles. And it's a very touchy subject. It's very, very touchy. And it's something that I'm trying to say that, Nat?
I said parking with neighbors is always a touchy subject.
Exactly. So that's one of the realities, or the day-to-day realities, that I'm currently working with. But I know that I will get support somehow or the other from my neighbors, and I'll work around that, and I'll continue having those conversations until we resolve the issue with his transport. The other day-to-day reality is, you know, specialist appointments. You know, your child is unwell, you worry about the health, but then with the specialist, you know, especially if it's not linked to the public system, are really, really expensive. And as a parent, you want your child to get the best treatment. You want your child to have those opportunities to get the medical support that they need. So you make appointments and then they cancelled, and you make appointments and then they cancelled because your specialist has gone overseas, and you think to yourself, okay, we'll just wait another couple of weeks for the appointment. And these appointments are costly. They're really, really costly. So, and then you get into the waiting room and you wait like an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours to see the specialist. And you think to yourself, why? Okay. Then Keegan gets upset now because I said to him, okay, in 20 minutes we can have a drink. And he's like, where's my drink now? You know, I'm waiting. But those are the things that we face every day. And yes, children are, I mean, he's 35 now, but he doesn't know the concept of time. He doesn't understand that, you know, if I say we're going to wait an hour, what does that mean? If he walks in there, his expectations are that, hey, you said I'm coming here and I'll get a drink. And so that's another one of our issues we have, or I say things we have to face on a daily basis.
Yeah.
One of the other things that I will say is that when he is unwell and I go to the public hospital in our local area, he gets the best support. Absolutely, he gets the best support that he needs. It's right on tap. So I have never had an issue with the public system for Keegan. It's just more so the private system, because if you go to public, then they link you to the private system and it just becomes another part of his navigation. Other than that, we travel. I would say one of the things that we do quite a bit is traveling. We're traveling to Melbourne at the end of August, and he's coming with me on this trip. What I've noticed in the airports now is that they have a seat designated for people with disabilities, which is really, really good. The bathrooms are absolutely wonderful. So those are the things that we, as parents with a child with a disability, you look at. One of the things that I would like to change in airports, and this is a big change also, is that when we go through customs or we go through any, the queues, that we sort of fast tracked, we get that option. It's not many people with disabilities that are traveling, but give us a fast track, maybe that's just something that I think about. Yeah, but to tell you quite honestly, Nat, having cared for Keegan so many years, it doesn't feel, when he's not with me, I feel like something's missing. And I have two children. I have two boys. My younger boy lives in a different state, so we visit him quite often, Keegan's brother. And you miss your children when they're not there. And it's the same with Keegan, because even I went to Brisbane when I went to the World Congress, the World Down Syndrome Congress. He had just been unwell. He had COVID, and I wasn't going to risk him, becoming unwell again. So his worker came into our home and she stays with him while I'm not here, which is a good system that I've set up for him, that he doesn't have to leave home. And she comes in, she stays with him, makes sure that he goes to his programs every day. His medication is given to him, and she gives me a report on what she's done. If there's any medical issues, then I have family around that will support him while I'm away. So that in itself is a comfort for me. So yeah, in saying that, we've got our day-to-day things, but we've made life work for us. And I think that's the amazing thing. We make it work. The two of us, yeah.
It sounds like you haven't stopped doing the things you want to do. Do you know what I mean? You just, you're just navigating through just maybe few different steps to make your dreams a reality as well. So I'm hearing there is support, like someone that can take care of him, so you can go and do some of the things where you can't take him along, or maybe it's not due to health reasons. He needs to stay behind. You're traveling interstate, and I'm guessing sometimes even overseas, by the sounds of you have moved countries twice. What other support is out there available to people? What's the one maybe that you've noticed that a lot of people are not aware of that exists that they could tap into?
I mean, if your child has Down syndrome or any disability in Australia, let's say the child has cerebral palsy, join the Cerebral Palsy Alliance or the Cerebral Palsy Organization. Join the Down Syndrome New South Wales, or Brisbane, or Queensland, or Victoria. Join Down Syndrome International, because you get information, the bits of information that you receive, and everything is online now. You can have access to that information. If you're worried about your child going to school, on the education website, you will find so much information with regards to children going to school, going to daycare, where to get the support for them, how to get assessments for them. And I understand the weight. I understand how things work in the system, that, patience is a big value that we need to hold as parents with children with disabilities, because we want everything here and now, but sometimes it doesn't happen. One of the good things also too, if parents don't know this, is that your child needs to be assessed to have access to the NDIS. The
Mhm.
sooner you start that for your child, the sooner your child can have access to the services that they need. So I would encourage every parent, if you feel your child is not managing, or your child has, or the doctor has said is, they're worried about something for your child, look into it. Go and say, what does it really mean for me and my child? Because the services, there's Centrelink, you can get services from Medicare, you get services in regards to housing, transport, education, medical. I did say medical. So there are so many services out there for parents and also for children or adults with disabilities. So it's not something that's unknown. It is out there. And if people are really needing help, or, they could come to me, they could say, hey, Kathleen, I need this. Where could I go with this? I may live in a different state, but I may just say, okay, I've been through that. Let's do X, Y, and Z. And I can help you through that. Because sometimes talking to a parent with a child with a disability really, really helps. And when Keegan was first born, I joined support groups, because the support groups also gave me more information.
Yeah.
Now I join, as a parent, I join NDIS groups, because that's the current plan for our children. That's the way forward for our children. So if you are a parent, join an NDIS parents group, because in that group, you'd be able to get the support you need, get the information you need, and then also do research yourself for what your child specifically needs.
So what I'm hearing is you got to do a little bit of work. You can't sit back and wait for it to fall in your lap. Like anything in life, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you've got to be patient. I mean, we're going through a whole insurance process where our home on the Gold Coast got flooded. It's been happening 7 months now. We know it's a process that you got to go through, but be patient with it. And I think once you set up, though, those structures of support, and you know how to manage them, then it becomes so much faster afterwards.
Absolutely.
Because
That's true, Nat.
steps, yeah. So talk to me about writing the book. How long did you speak it out? Did you type it out? What was the discipline that you had? I always ask this question of every author, because not every author does like speak and transcribe and all that, which is our original model. So a lot of our authors are typing now, but I always love to hear about the discipline, because nowadays everything we do with you guys has been online for the last 4.5 years. So we're not sitting there behind the watching you do it. So I want to know from you, how did you stay disciplined? Did you type? Did you speak? And how was the support going through the process?
I think after the retreat, I took a day off. I thought, how am I going to do this? I know I started writing in the retreat, which was absolutely wonderful. I think the information that I got was like, wow, do I need to do all this? How am I going to do it? I went into shock a little, and that's just me. And I thought, how am I going to do this? And I kept on hearing your voice that you'll get the support, don't worry about it. And then I took the day off and I said, okay, I've written some stuff, but does this stuff make sense to me? Is this what I want to write? And then after that, I had a meeting with Stuart. We came up with the title. We worked through the chapters. And I was like, oh, I can do this. It's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. And then I broke the chapters down. And then you taught us about the app Otto, I think it is. And I thought, okay, that was something new. Let me try this. And I tried it. And I was laying in bed the one night and I started talking. And I thought, no, this is just not working for me. But it's good. It's a really good thing. And I said, no, I can't be doing this, because I'll wake up every 5 minutes and say something. And then I thought, okay, just jot your points down as I normally do, because I keep a notepad like sort of on my kitchen bench if there's something that I want to write. And then I come back in the morning and type. I like typing, so I used to type. And then I thought, okay, as I type, and then I sort of got into the flow of it. And what I think really, really kept me motivated was the weekly meetings. The Thursday meeting where I was accountable to myself and to, to other authors as well, in our team, that, we were writing this together, we were doing this together, and I felt that. And I thought, okay, what am I accountable for the last week? What did I do? Because I needed to share that. And
Mhm.
some weeks I did get stuck and I was like, okay, I'm stuck here. And then I kept on reminding myself that, okay, go on Thursday, hear what other people are doing. Because it wasn't that I was stuck, that I didn't know the process. I think the content of what I wanted to write was also just, you get too much. You get so much stuff in your head that you want to put in a book. And I needed to sort of dissect that. And I got help through Vivi and Julie with the questions that I asked in those weeks. And I think I emailed you a couple of times, or I texted you a couple of times. But for me, writing the book, Nat, the process that you have in place is amazing. I can't explain that more, because the other day I went back and I read one of the emails on how to do something. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I've got the email and I've got the process. This is what actually happened, right to the end of my book being on, to my own landing page. I never ever thought in my life I'll have a landing page with my name on. And Nick was fantastic doing that. So I think the partners in your company are amazing. And, the process for me was overwhelming in the beginning, but now when I got to the end, I was like, okay, you did it. You did
Yeah.
it.
You can see it in hindsight how it all connected, and that's why
Yeah,
I speak to you guys. It's so hard to express in words. Someone's got to take the steps themselves to go through it. But I see
yeah.
confidence as well. That's one thing, it's like you believe more about what you stand for. And I know this supports your,
Mm,
NDIS support work that you do
mm,
on families and all that sort of stuff. So you were an ideal, as I say, student. And what you just mentioned there, the weekly publishing accelerator calls,
mm,
attending those is so key. I always say to our
mm,
authors, when you're in the midst of the journey, you need to be turning up to at least one support call a week.
mm.
Because if you do, you're going to remain motivated and excited about it, as well as be held accountable. But you can hear from other people and get so many ideas about, oh, they're doing this, maybe I should try that and all that.
That's right.
All right.
Yeah.
So where can people buy your book? You did mention your landing page, and I do have
Mhm,
it up here on my screen.
mhm.
So kathleenbrown.com.au, guys, with Brown with an E at the end. So KATHLENBROWNE.com.au, and you'll see her book and her amazing son there that you can order it. Also, the book is available through all your good online resellers like
Mhm.
Amazon, Barnes and Nobles, and all that sort of stuff. If you want to, get it from there rather than Kathleen, whichever way you get it, get a copy. Or if you know someone that perhaps has just, has a child with a disability or might be struggling as well, reading a book like this can truly inspire. And we have had a few authors write about their experiences, which I believe the more out there, the better improvements in support systems that we are going to have. So congratulations, Kathleen. I'm so happy and excited, and I can't wait. Maybe we should do an interview in 12 months' time and see kind of where you're at with all of this. But I wish you every success. Once you're part of our family, that's it. You're with us for life. So I love that. So guys, go out there and share this a recording of, if there is someone that with some insights here about the support that's available out there. And of course, you can contact Kathleen through her website as well. All right, guys. Thank you, Kathleen. And guys, have a great day and get out there and smash out this week. Bye.
Definitely. Thank you, Nat. Bye-bye.